And we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Round for Round Boxing Show. Again, we're back. The Round for Round Boxing Show in association with Round for Round Boxing, the upcoming boxing game that will be available on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Tonight, this is a legendary interview we've got with you tonight, and really, really special. If you're a boxing fan and you're tuning in now, you are going to be listening to something absolutely historic for a number of reasons. So without further ado, I will welcome my guest into the room, Edward Scott Jr.
Thank you. Thank you.
Afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Ingram. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here to speak with you this afternoon.
Thank you so much. And I'm sure people want to know who you are. But before we get into who you are, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing.
Yes. Established in 2005, I formed a foundation to help those who are less fortunate, underserved, and youth empowerment, to help the young kids define their definite purpose in life and be able to achieve their goals by organizing their thoughts, bringing it to a desirable end, and to be able to be successful, to volunteer, to be youth leaders, and also to help out worldwide to make the world a better place to live in.
Okay. So how are things going with this foundation at the moment?
Well, the foundation is growing. We started from the bottom and we're working our way up to the top. And, we're grateful to God for all his support and for everyone who's been there helping us along our journey and our destiny.
Okay. Without saying too much about what the foundation really is about, can you talk some more about the ethos of the foundation?
Well, the foundation, it's there to help those in need and to encourage folks, to let them know that they have greatness inside of them. And we're talking about our youth, to give them a direction and guidance and let them know that there's nothing impossible when you believe. And so we believe in vision boards, affirmations, and so these kids can get a really understanding about themselves and to look inside themselves to be in the position, to be successful. And so that's really, really important right now. And, we believe in God, family, youth, boxing, education, and equality for all.
Okay. So where are you based?
We're based in Los Angeles. But our organization, again, we're part of different other organizations. We're partnering with We Day, which is youth empowerment as well. And when we get kids to volunteer locally and globally to help those around the world that are in need. And so these young kids are getting a valuable lesson to see how other kids are living and what they're experiencing in life. And so we're so grateful to be in this position because we know that we're all one, under God, man. And so when we work together, there's nothing that we can't do.
Okay. Again, I don't want to talk too much about who's behind the organization, what the organization, because I really want people to refocus on what the whole essence of what this foundation is about before we speak further. Talk to us about some of the young people that you've worked with, some stories that you've worked with and you've turned around during this situation, during this with this foundation.
Well, we work with young kids, who have different issues in life. Some feel, that they've been bullied. And so we have a bullying program, too, that we're excited about to help young kids get through that. And we're working on some projects for that to get kids to understand, that it's okay to be a kid. But at the same time, being bullied is something that you shouldn't have to tolerate in life. And so Again, we have kids where, just going through school, man, dealing with everyday basics. Some kids may not have certain clothes that the other kids have, and the other kids may tease them for that. And so we try to encourage them, let them know that they're more than just their clothes. And so we share other stories. And with We Day, there's tons of stories from all types of kids around the world. And every year we take these kids to the farm where there's about 16,000 kids. And these kids are telling their stories. I mean, from all walks of life. I remember a young lady there, she had her face had issues with her face. And she was born that way. And she was being teased by a lot of people. But then she came to herself and found that God made everybody different and special. So it's okay to be different, and so that encouraged her to get her to move forward because bullying, cyberbullying, and bullying is a really big epidemic right now. And a lot of kids are being affected by it. And so it's so important that these kids get the right information and be encouraged and inspired and channel that energy to something that's positive, that's going to help improve their lives and the world as well.
So so what are the age group of these kids that you're working with?
Well, these kids we're working with is anywhere between 8 to 17 years old. We want them to be able to get them young, which is really the great thing to do because we have positive books that we have the kids read. I Am by Dr. Wayne Dyer, these children books. And then we have another book for some of the older kids. We talk about Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. We talk about the Mastermind Alliance. And so this is what we want to teach young kids, to build mastermind alliances to help them reach their goals, because find people who have the same goals as they do and mentors to mentor these kids, to get them in a position that they can form an alliance to be able to achieve the things in life that they want to achieve. And so that's so important to understand that, because you can't have anybody in that mastermind alliance because, you have to have the right people in order to connect. Because say, for instance, if you're trying to achieve something and you get to the point where you get frustrated, you have 3 or 4 guys that's with you, may have another idea that can help you be in a position to achieve that and get you back stirred up so you can move forward and start making things happen. So again, that's part of our program that we think that's very important. And then using willpower, because the willpower is what you have to understand. It controls all the other emotions. And once you have action burned into your consciousness and you're aware of what you're doing, where you're going, then that's where, you're going to reach your destiny. And so that's why it's so important that these young kids know that.
You're talking my language. You're talking my language so much is unbelievable. For those people who are just joining us, this is Edward Scott Jr., a very, very, very fascinating young man who has some fascinating news for us. So how long has this foundation been around, Edward?
Well, this foundation was established in 2005, so we're going on 13 years now. And we're still, and it feels like I just actually began, and I know I've got a lot of work to do to continue on, and we're not where we want to be right now, but we're trusting God, and we know that with Him all things are possible.
Well, the foundations and the roots are fantastic. They're rooted in some great philosophies and great ways to ensure that the lifestyles of those young people will be truly affected by being enriched by great wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
Yes, absolutely. That's the key, man. Right there, what you just said: knowledge and understanding, and being aware, self-awareness. Is really important. That young people need to know that they have greatness inside of them, and they have to develop those gifts and talents. We try to help them stir up those gifts and let them know that, hey, listen, you can be, do, and have anyone in life, but you have to make that conscious choice and decision and put action behind it. And see, that's the key. Don't give up, because you're going to have failures. Failure is stepping stones to success. Don't worry about failing. There's a lesson that will teach you how not to do it, and there's a better way to do it. So again, that's so important, that young kids must learn the value of sustained consciousness of thought, seeing the end in the beginning. It's calling things that be not as though they were, and the unseen become seen.
From heaven unto earth. calling it
Yes,
into existence.
yes, that's it. That's exactly it.
You're talking my language, brother. Okay,
Yes,
now, the stuff you're saying there is the sort of thing that every champion has needed to get to where they get to. Not every champion has left the boxing ring and retired unbeaten. Some fighters haven't had the opportunity, or have had the opportunity to fight for world titles, and one way or the other haven't been good enough, or they may be robbed out of becoming a world champion or greatness. Now, you know what greatness is all about, don't you?
yes, I certainly do. I learned from someone very, very close and dear to my heart what greatness is all about.
So, of course.
And so this is something that it resonates with me very strong.
Okay, and let's before we reveal the name, and let's talk about how round for round boxing and the boxing game and the team behind round for round got in contact with you.
Well,
Again,
yeah, yeah, they contacted me and told me that they were putting together this amazing video game, and I thought that it was a great concept. And so I was really, really excited about what they were telling me, and I think it's going to be an amazing video game. And so I was extremely, glad to hear from them.
Okay, let's see. Just want to check something very quickly before I go any further. Right. So, I guess we've danced around the issue enough. Now, Edward, the floor is yours. Please reveal who you are, and then from there, say your piece. Floor is yours.
Okay. My name is Edward Scott Jr. I'm the president CEO of the Henry Armstrong Foundation. I am Henry Armstrong, boxing legend Henry Armstrong's grandson, and our organization honors him.
Wow, that's amazing. Amazing. And so what you're basically saying in terms of Henry Armstrong, you're now basically the man, the grandson of Henry Armstrong, that is basically saying he will be a part of round for round boxing.
Absolutely. We're so excited about this round for round boxing. We're honored to have Henry Armstrong in this game. We know that it's going to be an amazing game. And I know if Henry Armstrong was here today, he would be so excited because Henry Armstrong loved fighting, man. I mean, he was born to be a fighter. And a lot of people didn't realize that, that he enjoyed himself so much. It was a job, man. It was like going to work and doing something that you love. I mean, that was Henry Armstrong when it come to boxing, man. I mean, he would fight. A lot of folks didn't know that he would fight 3 or 4 times a night. And at night, sir. Yes, sir. And that's why his record, people see that his record reflects one thing, but he actually fought over 300 and something fights. I mean, he loved to fight. I mean, it was just something that was inside of him that I believe God put in him, and this was his destiny to fight.
Wow. So, how long did you in terms of your granddad fighting? How long did you know him before he moved on? He passed on.
Well, my grandfather passed on in 1988. I knew him. Matter of fact, when my mom was giving birth to me, my father was not able to take her to the hospital for me to be delivered. And Henry Armstrong was the one who took his daughter, which is Lynetta Armstrong, and she was known as Baby Lynetta when she was back in the day as a young child. And so he winds up taking his daughter to the hospital in 1964 so I can be born. And out of all the grandchildren, I was the only one that happened with. And so I'm honored as his grandson to be in this position to continue his legacy and to help those who are underserved, man. I mean, it is an honor and a privilege. It's tough running a nonprofit organization. I'll be honest with you. We went through so much and we continue to go through, but we know with God, and if we fight hard and trust Him, He will make a way. And He's been making that way for us. But my grandfather, I want to remind you that in his era, before he became October is going to be champ half.
Hold on, you'd have to repeat that again because you're breaking up slightly.
Oh, I'm sorry. And he, with my grandfather, he didn't have 25 cents to his name, and he told folks that he would be champion, and so he was calling things that be not as though they were, and it happened for him. You have to have that belief, man. I mean, money doesn't stop anything. Your belief will make a way for you, and everything else will fall into place. And he did that, man. So I was so proud of him. In his first championship fight with Peter Sharon for the featherweight title, his manager told him, Eddie Mead, he says, go over there and just punch the guy. When the bell rings, punch him hard in the face one time, and that should do it for you. So my grandfather went over there, and he punched him hard like he said, but he didn't realize that Peter wasn't a champion for nothing. Peter hit him even harder. and so what they had to do, he had to come and hit him even harder. So it just kept going. It kept escalating harder and harder, man. And then finally, my grandfather knocked him out in the 6th round and captured his first title. And so, but before that, he visualized himself looking at the ceiling, seeing himself winning that championship because he came so far and he's been through so much on his journey. But with his faith has made a way for him, and God was certainly behind him, I tell you.
Now, I remember watching Henry Armstrong. Obviously, I wasn't alive when he was actually boxing, but I remember there were 3 fighters that were very significant for me in boxing: Sugar Ray Robinson, Henry Armstrong, and Willie Pep. They were the 3 guys. Yes. Those were 3 guys that kind of circular in terms of what I watched and who I saw. But the one thing, as soon as I hear Henry Armstrong, I hear the 3 weights and him being having 3 defending titles simultaneously in all 3 weight divisions.
Yes.
Who does that? Who does that?
Man, it's and then he did it within 10 months' time. And I tell you, in October of 1939, he defended his welterweight title 5 times less than 21 days and won them all.
So I'm right. It was featherweight, welterweight, and middleweight. Am I correct there?
Oh no, it was featherweight, welterweight, lightweight. Because when he won the featherweight, that was his first title, and then he was trying to go for the lightweight, but Lou Ambers didn't want any parts of him at that time, and so he skipped over lightweight, went to Barney Ross for welterweight, and then after he won that title, Lou Ambers people looked at it and say, okay, we'll give him a shot at this. So that's when he was able to go to lightweight, and man, that was a special fight. Matter of fact, it's interesting that you mentioned, we're mentioning that right now, because this past August 18th was his 80th anniversary of making boxing history with that particular fight. And that fight, man, was amazing because my grandfather, in his previous sparring section, he had cut his mouth inside, and so Lou Ambers reopened that cut in the fight, and the referee told my grandfather, he says, listen, if you spit on that ground one more time on the ring, the fight's over. So my grandfather looked over to his corner, told his corner man to take the mouthpiece out of his mouth, and he wound up swallowing his blood for 6 rounds straight, man. He almost died in that fight, to win victory, to make that championship, but again, God was with him. And when he was born, his mother predicted over his life that he would do great things and succeed, man. So it's just amazing, all the stuff that I learned about my grandfather. And, matter of fact, I'm also working on a movie in his honor, God's Champion 333. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit off air who's going to play him. I don't want to say it right now, but if I mention it right now, you would know, and it would just be it's somebody that right now that's hot, man. That you would be amazing to play him. I tell you, and I can't say it right this minute, but I'll let you know. And if I'm sure you will figure it out.
Wow. That's some great.
He's a fighter. He's a fighter too. You know what I mean? So that's the thing about it, man. So I'm so I mean, you would know, man. If I mentioned it right now, you would just like, wow. I mean, I'll tell you off air. I can do that.
That's great. That can be it can be exclusive off air.
Yes, I'll do that for you.
Wow. This is a great opportunity because I'm talking to the grandson of Henry Armstrong. For those of you who have just joined us, I'm talking to the grandson of Henry Armstrong, Edward Scott Jr. Tell us some things about Henry Armstrong that the general public didn't know or the press didn't know that you would know.
Well, I'm going to say this. Henry Armstrong was grandfather to me, and a lot of people probably don't realize that. They look at the age difference and, well, did you know him? Absolutely. Again, he would come from St. Louis on his trips. He would come through and he would spend time with us, and he was very spiritual, and I didn't realize that until I started going more into his story, that after retiring from boxing, he became an ordained Baptist minister. But he would encourage us with the word of God, man. And so I think that was one of the most valuable lessons that we got out of it, man. I noticed when we go to the boxing gym together, I would come, run around them, and I didn't know at the time, because at that time I boxed with my younger brother, my older brother, Ricky, which he's not here, bless his heart, but he was in the amateurs, and he and I would spar a lot. And so he was the fighter. So we would go to the gym and my grandfather would be there with us. And you would see all the people coming in, man, coming around him and just in awe, taking pictures. And then that's when I really kind of figured it out, this guy was really something in the sport of boxing, and I started studying him more and more. And he just was a man that had a good heart, and he was respectful. And he was very smart. He was very smart. I tell you that for a fighter, you wouldn't think he was a fighter. He was very smart. He graduated with honors. He originally wanted to become a doctor, but he just didn't have the funds to attend college. And so that's the reason why our organization also have an athletic and medical scholarship program, for young kids to help them out with the application tuition and book fees, because it's really expensive for college right now. So again, as grandfather, man, he was an amazing guy, especially he had to share himself too with a lot of people, and so that, we couldn't get the whole 100% because of his schedule, but he was always there for us. And then the thing about this too is that we would always sit around family time and read the letters that he would send to us. And man, we got letters like, I'm going to see Joe Louis. The kids want to come up. I'm going to be on Muhammad Ali's show. And all these things, man. So he was just an amazing little guy, and like I said, I have great respect for him. And it's just an honor to be his grandson and to continue his legacy with pure love, and don't let nothing stop you and get in the way. Because again, he started with nothing. And that's why I have so much respect for him. It's because he didn't let nothing stop him. And I'm going to share this with you too. A lot of people didn't know when my grandfather was going to school as a young man that he secretly put together a gym in his basement because he wanted to be this super fighter, man. He did this as a young man. He would work and earn money and buy his own boxing equipment and develop his own gym. And he would go out and he would fight guys in the street. He would carry boxing gloves with him and challenge you, man. No matter how big you are, it didn't matter. He would challenge you with boxing gloves out in the street. And he thought that was the way to do it because that's how Kid Chocolate got discovered. And so that was one of the things that he would do. And so it's just amazing the more and more I read about him and the things that he's done throughout his life, he has some big shoes, man, for me to fill. And right now, I mean, we can talk about so many different things about him, and it would take us hours. And I'm telling you, man, and I'm going to share something else with you too. And what I found that was fascinating too, for him being a light and the middleweight title too. Now he would have won that too with Seferian Garcia. They called that a draw, and so he would have had at that time that championship too. But getting back to him, man, it's just so amazing how, you know, the things that I found out about him in regards to heavyweight champion Joe Louis. That second fight with Max Mellon. My grandfather was called in by Jack Blackburn, Joe Louis' manager, to help Joe Louis prepare for that fight. So my grandfather actually showed Joe how to beat this guy in the first round. And if you go to our website, www.henryarmstrongfoundation.org, you will see pictures of my grandfather in that training camp showing Joe Louis, man. I mean, this was just amazing how this guy, being a little guy, and everybody comes in and uses his style or uses some of his techniques to become champions. And he built champions from his style, you know. So I'm honored for him to do that as well.
You know, he had an amazing style, Henry Armstrong. Head down, got inside people's chests. You know, guys that were physically probably bigger than him and stronger than him, and he was able to do what he did, and he did it constantly. How was he able to match them? I mean, guys that were bigger. I mean, like you hear currently today in boxing, many boxing writers will say, "Oh, he's too big for him. There's a couple of pounds difference between one guy and another guy." And then I look and think, well, hold on. How can these guys be, you know, there's 3 or 4 pounds here. He's not going to make it. Henry moves from one division to another and does it. Incredible. How did he do it?
Well, you know, I'm with his stamina, and his heart it was discovered that his heart, he had a muscular heart. It was 1/3 larger than the average person's heart. So even when he was a youngster, he said that he loved to run. He would never get tired. He would run like a maniac. And so when it came for him to fight, he would be in his dressing room. He would do 12 to 15 rounds just shadow boxing, man, before he comes out. If necessary, happen to do another 12 to 15 rounds. It would be a piece of cake for him because he would never get tired. If you look at some of his fights, when the bell rang after some of the later rounds, even from the beginning, you would see he would run out towards his opponent, you know, constantly as if he's just started the fight. And so that stamina, he was very proud about that. And it allowed him to continue to go and go and go. And matter of fact, I'm going to tell you a little story. When he was a young man, his mother had a bounty, a rooster. And this rooster, she would spank any of the children who messed with that rooster. My grandfather chased that rooster one day, and the chase was on, and his mother, which is her name was America, full-blooded Aquarius Indian, she would stand by the tub there, and she would watch him, and everybody else was watching him. He chased that rooster, man, for an hour, caught it, the rooster died. And the mother, all the kids knew that he was in for trouble, but you know, she didn't spank him. She told him if he'd go after life the way he went after that rooster, that she don't have to worry about him. And so, again, his relentless style in terms of going after things in life, he knew from the very beginning at a young age, determination, willpower, and consistency, persistence will get you what you want in life. He learned that at a very young age, man.
I just wanted to mention now that Jamie and everyone from the Round for Round boxing team, including myself, would like to thank you for this opportunity. And we are honored to have Henry Armstrong as a fighter on Round for Round boxing, one of the pound for pound greats.
Ingrid, we want to thank you too, and Round for Round boxing from the bottom of our heart, you know, and BWTM Sports for this opportunity. You know, we're so grateful to you guys. And matter of fact, this coming Saturday, we're going to have a hackathon with some young kids, Oakland versus Los Angeles. And these kids are going to be building a virtual reality video health game in honor of my grandfather.
Wow.
And, yeah. So,
Hey,
and matter of fact,
footage of that. Come on. Or even
yeah.
take us live to it.
Yeah, and you know what? Matter of fact, we'll work on that because I'm gonna be one of the judges, as a matter of fact. And the kids, and what we want to do too, we're gonna reward them. Matter of fact, Round for Round is one of our sponsors.
Wow.
And so we want to thank Round for Round Boxing for our sponsors who are helping us to get these kids that check, and so the kids could be introduced to Henry Armstrong and just be able to learn. And see, this goes along with our bullying program too, because we want to get the kids, not only their minds, body, and their soul and their spirit in good shape. And so to learn different exercises with boxing, techniques in the video game, give the kids an opportunity to learn about Henry Armstrong, as well as be in a position to get themselves in good shape and learn a little bit about boxing if they're interested in entering or just for exercise or self-defense. Again, it's a good thing. So we're honored. And so we thank you guys, from the bottom of our hearts. And we look forward. We're very excited. I saw some of the, I saw a few pics of the character of my grandfather. It's coming along amazing, man. I mean, these guys, you guys are awesome, man.
Thank you so much. We know Jamie and everyone around for Round team, the developers, you're going to have with Henry Armstrong, you're going to have lots of heart, lots of stamina, punching power, guts.
Yes.
Everything's up to max to 100 with Henry Armstrong, 110.
Yeah, you know what? It'll be, brother. It'll be so cool if they have that robe too that he wore with Henry Armstrong with the crossbones.
Yes,
that robe. I'm gonna tell you a story about that real quick. I'll be brief.
Okay.
That robe, man, that he wore with the Henry Armstrong with the crossbones. Back in the day when these guys were fighting, they never knew who they were going to fight. And so you would get to the ring. The fighters didn't know who they were going to be put up against, but everybody didn't want to fight Henry Armstrong. I tell you that. And so when they had him hide in the room back there, and they didn't tell who he was fighting. But the minute they announced it, man, this poor guy came out and he fainted in the ring when he found out he had to fight Henry Armstrong. And they told him, and then the commissioner and all of them they told my grandfather, they said, it's that robe. They're scared of that robe. You shouldn't wear that robe with the crossbones and skeletons. That's why they're afraid to fight you.
So why did he wear the skull and bones cross on his robe?
Well, first of all, that was a gift from my grandmother to him for his birthday. It was a custom robe made for him, and the reason why he wore that is because Homicide Hank, the nicknames that they gave him, it was one of his names. So when you see that coming in, man, you knew something was going to happen. You know what I mean? It's like his way of coming in. Like the executioner would wear the mask,
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So it was one of those kind of things. It was like his little, mascot.
How do you think? I mean, it's a bit of a silly question to ask, but I'm going to ask you. How do you think Henry Armstrong would do in this era?
Man, to be honest with you, in this era, I think he would be unstoppable, man. I think he would have had many championship belts because of his heart for the sport. He was a guy, if you look at all of his fights, man, you either would have to beat him. He's not quitting. He has that never give up spirit when it comes to fighting like a true champion. So I know that these guys, you would have to be really, really good to get him. But he was really clever because he developed his gifts and talents and his style to where he could look down at your feet, man, and determine
where
what you were going to throw.
Yes.
Yeah, see, it's like a master.
Why he used to keep his head down. I couldn't remember who taught me that. Maybe my old trainer, his name's Reefer, but he told me that a guy can't come close to you without moving their feet.
Yes. Yes.
In, and he taught me from the Henry Armstrong, keep your chin tucked in, but keep your eyes in out the ground. Look at the ground. It's not the feet, look at the ground, because that's where you can see them moving forward. Not the hands, the feet. Stay out of distance and watch the feet as they're coming forward. That was the thing that I learned that Henry Armstrong. As I said, he was one of my favorite fighters. So I remember that. Head down, looking at the feet.
Exactly. And so it's like when you, like for instance, if you see a master in any type of karate, martial arts, you know that master certain things about his craft to where he can do things that the average person wouldn't be able to do because he's a master of it. So I would say he mastered that skill to where he can do. I remember one time, if you take for uppercuts, people say when a guy comes in all the time, get him with an uppercut. But see, he was so smart. He would take his arm and put it under his right there. Yeah. So when you come in, you're gonna hit his elbow, his arm, right? So you're not gonna be able to get him. So he knew certain tricks. Yes, and he could slip punches too. He knew how to slip them out from different angles, and he would never get tired. He would throw punches from all angles, and I think that had to do with his stamina, that he would never give up, and he would wear you down and stay on you, man. It's almost, if you saw that fight, the Rooster.
We'll break it out. Go ahead.
Guy who fought, I believe, with Oscar De La Hoya, I think, if I'm Golden Boy, I think his name was the Rooster. He would stay on you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Henry Armstrong, man, he would stay on you so hard that he wouldn't get tired. He would do it for 15 rounds because he already did it in his dressing room for about 12 to 15 rounds. And I'm going to share something else with you. It was kind of funny that I discovered about him that I thought was cool. This guy was writing poetry, man, while he was getting ready to have a championship fight in the background. So he wrote a poetry book, 20 Years Moves of Meditation and Poems. And so I read through that and I look at that and I just look at his spirit and just his whole demeanor, man. I mean, he wasn't your average fighter. He was a very brilliant guy.
He was a great master. The other thing is, you talked to me about the gym. Does the house where Henry Armstrong lived, is that still there or is that gone?
No, I think it is gone now. Where it was, I think we tore down and did some other things in the area, man. But I would love. But I know there's some places in St. Louis where he lived, and we're gonna go there and get some more information on it too. You know, when we start the project with the film, like I said, right now we have people right now. We're working on our script and getting that together. But I can tell you, man, it's amazing. I can't wait to tell you who's gonna play him. You know what I mean? Off air. You know what I mean? We already got the trunks for him already. You know what I mean? And we're making everything in terms of his belts, the robe, all those things that you saw him in that era. We have people who are going to help us develop that, recreate that. And so it's going to be amazing, man. So I'm so thankful to God. And then what's going to be great about this too, Ingram, with the film, we want to help folks too and help retired boxers, help the youth, and also help God's people, man, the churches as well. So we're hoping to make this movie go worldwide, foreign and domestic. It's a spiritual, rags to riches spiritual story, and it shows where God is in there, man. How God took his life and made him this champion to where no other champion in the world can ever do what he did. That's how we know it's God and his mother. And if you know the story, if we had a little time to talk about it, I mean, we'll be here all day, man. But this story is amazing. It's magical. It's spiritual. I mean, it's just amazing, man, how things fell into place for him. You know, it had to be nobody but God who's done that for him. And that's why today his record still remains unbroken.
I just sit back. I just think back when I sat as a little boy and watched Henry Armstrong, like the black and white videos of him boxing and Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson inspired me because of what he did for his people and how he set up. There was a whole community that he set up, and then a street, and he set up a whole town for his people in his community. That was inspiration for me from very young. So that was very, and of course the Henry Armstrong story is another one. But when I'm sitting here talking to you, you're his grandson. I mean, this is unreal. It's unbelievable.
Man, it's an honor. It's an honor for me to speak with you. And I'm so grateful for what you guys are doing. And like I said, again, you're helping us continue his legacy. And young folks will know about him because that was one of his main things, Ingram, is for young people to know about his story, man, and to be able to encourage themselves because he worked with young kids even after he retired. See, our organization is continuing on the Henry Armstrong Foundation International Youth Foundation that he established back in 1950s, but he had to kind of let it go because of non-support. And so he went to the Huber Boys Club in St. Louis, and he started mentoring young kids there. And so I've got great pictures of that. And matter of fact, I actually met some of the young students that he mentored who are now adults, military. And matter of fact, there was one gentleman that I met that called me from St. Louis, who my grandfather mentored. He told me my grandfather loved playing checkers, which he was correct, and he was good at playing checkers. Nobody can beat him playing checkers, man. And so he would taught the kids how to play checkers. But this young man told me this interesting story. He said two boxing clubs back there, and he belonged. My grandfather's boxing club had air conditioning, and so the other kids would go there and pay $5 to come to his club because they get the air conditioning. And my grandfather had a boxing team at his club, but his guys weren't doing that well. And the other team, the guys came in, they would beat his guys. So my grandfather tried to persuade these young kids to come fight with him. And I remember the young man told me, he says, "No, Mr. Armstrong, we can't fight with you. We belong to the other club." I forget the other guy's name that he mentioned. And so my grandfather took these kids down in a basement. He never told the kids who he was. So he took those kids down there in the basement and showed them some footage of him. And man, those kids were blown away. They said, "That's you, Mr. Armstrong?" He said, "Yes." And then that's when I think the kids started to come over there with him and started to fight. He trained a lot of them. But getting back to this young man, he's an adult now, military retired. He builds barbecue grills, Moss Grills, and he builds them for a lot of prominent people. And he did one for us, for the kids. And matter of fact, we had Sugar Shane Mosley unveil that grill for us at the MLK parade, and so that was real exciting too, to get people who we actually inspired to come back. So that's why we know when you sow a seed and these young kids, man, you don't know what these kids are going to do, and they're going to come back and do something great, and you sow in your spirit. So that's why it's so important with the Henry Armstrong Foundation for us to invest and sow seeds in these young kids. And we ask these young kids, when those seeds grow, that you come back and you get back and help continue to keep this garden. And before you know it, man, we have this beautiful green forest full of love and support and unity in the world, and so we got to reach them young. And so that's the key.
The more we give is the more we receive. The more we receive is the more that we give.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And as president of the foundation, I take no salary. I've been doing this for 13 years. I have a real estate business that, when I close my transactions, I give back to the foundation. It gets tough, and, for me as well, but I want people to know when they do support, we take those funds and we use them wisely. So we take little and we make big out of it. And we don't complain, because 1 cent is more than what we had. And I reflect back to my grandfather, and I'm saying, here's a guy that didn't have 25 cents in his name, to his name.
Yeah.
And he's going to tell everybody he's going to be champion. So I don't complain, man. I mean, he didn't have 20. I got more than 25 cents. So when I get $5 donation, we're doing good.
Right. I say that we never focus on what we have. We always focus on what we have. The riches that we have, we must focus on. And we focus on the riches we have, and we will gain more. We obtain more riches. We focus on the lack that we have, we will gain more lack.
Yes, you're absolutely correct, man. And see, that's why, again, on this 80th anniversary, we created a beautiful T-shirt. It's called God's Champion 333. It also represents the feature film that's coming out. And on that back of the T-shirt, it represents all 3 of his championships where he's in a row where he actually won. So all those actually championships that he won is on the back of that shirt, history. And on the sleeve, on the shirt, we have the scripture, Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. And it's okay to have things, but it's not okay for things to have you. Mm-hmm. And can I say, and I want to say one more thing too, the number 333, that number, man, follows us everywhere. It's in my phone number. It's in the IRS, our exemption number. I pick up the clock, the number 333 was showing.
Guess what number's following me at the moment?
What's that?
444.
Yeah, see, no, that means something, man. That means something, brother. I'm telling you.
I know what it means. I know what
brother. I'm telling you, it's amazing. We were at I get boxes, like even the T-shirt that when I ordered the T-shirts, when it came through on the numbers, 333's on there. You know what I mean? We stopped at a dress at the MLK parade, man. We stopped, and I was talking on the video. I have a video where I'm actually talking where we had Timothy Bradley and a bunch of other folks out. I'm giving them awards. I'm talking on the video, and I'm telling them about 333, and not realizing there was a young lady that was with us. She had pointed up to a sign, and we were at exactly 3333 zero at the dress. So the 333 was right there again, man. I'm telling you, man, it follows us around. And we know it's a sign of God.
When I see the number 333, it always tells me, be careful, watch out, be aware. Say, I never like 333. So when I see 333, it's always watch out, keep aware, be aware.
Yeah.
444 is you're being looked after, you're cool.
Wow. But you know what? I think this 333 is my grandfather, because see, he was born 12/12/1912.
Wow.
And see, and you add all that up, it's 3. And then I found articles, and I'll remind you, in 1970, I found an article in 1970 where my grandfather actually talks about number 3.
Yeah.
This number, that it meant so much to him. And now this is before I'm even born. I mean, well, I'm born, but I'm a few years of age, you know. And I own that, man. I saw that, it blew me away, man. And I can see it has significance in his life.
It's number 3. They call it. I think number 3 is the Christ number of Christ mindset. 333 or 3 is 33. I think that's the year that Christ died. 33, I believe.
Yes, I got something. I want to send you something that talks about the 333 on a spiritual level.
Yes,
and
I know of it, but please send it anyway.
Yes. So this stuff, man, this is amazing. It talks about even when our country was set free was 333 days. I mean, this stuff is so deep that I can't quote it quote for quote, but when you read this, I'm going to send it to you. You're going to be amazed by it, because it really blew me away. It's
about this. It's also about the ascended. Ask it now. The ascended masters. 333 is when the ascended masters are around us. The presence of the ascended masters.
Yes. I consider the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, and those 3 connected as one. Said again, for it to just appear up like that. I mean, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night,
333,
and use the restroom, and I pick up the phone. 333, man. I took pictures of it. You know what I mean? I showed people that. I mean, I even got, like, right now, I could send you so many different cars with license plates with that 333 on it. Just appeared out of nowhere.
I understand, brother. I got you.
Yeah.
I told you at the beginning of this call. I got you, and I've got you, right?
Yes, sir. You're amazing. And I appreciate everything that you guys are doing, man. I think you guys are awesome. I think this game, you know, round for round boxing game, man, is going to be so amazing. I encourage everyone to get behind, especially the boxing fans who love boxing, man. I mean, the graphics on this game, I mean, the effort, and I mean, it's just amazing. I think everybody should have this game, man.
Absolutely. You said that I'm amazing, but it's a reflection of yourself, sir, and the amazing work that you're doing in the community, and even more so, the amazing man that Henry Armstrong was and still is, because his spirit lives with us today in terms of what you're doing now. So there's not much more I can say, but apart from to say to you to basically our interview, the last word being with you, sir.
Well, you know, again, like I said, we're so very grateful. And, you know, again, running a nonprofit organization is really, really a tough job. And so we really, really can use the spirit of the people to give support, to come through and support our projects. When, you know, we work on this film, get behind us, help us, because we want to help. Even where you are right now, we're talking about the world. We're not just talking about Los Angeles, because he fought worldwide. We're talking about helping everybody. We're all God's children, man. So we're talking about, I don't care what your race is, creed, color, nationality, doesn't matter. You know, we all have love for you. We all want the best for you. We want you to succeed. We want you to think positive. We want you to achieve all your goals in life. And so we're asking people to get behind, you know, visit the Henry Armstrong Foundation, go to www.henryarmstrongfoundation.org, make a donation, you know, give from your heart. You know, and we'll show you where those funds are going, and you'll see a result, and that these young kids are our future, and that we're investing in them. and we're making a difference. And then we're having the young kids also help us feed the homeless. And so, again, it's really making a difference. We want this to go worldwide. We want to help those who are in need and encourage them so good things can happen in their lives and it'll be a better world, man, because we're all one under God's eye. And so, again, I want to thank all of your fans, boxing fans out there listening to this interview. And, I wish everyone the best, and the same for you as well. And thank you so much. I mean, again, I look forward to doing more interviews with you. I mean, we got so much to talk about. And like I said, again, I can't wait to tell you who this person is that we're going to have portray him.
Absolutely. Brother Scott, thank you so much once again. And as I said before, please send us any footage that you have in returns to the Henry Armstrong Foundation. If you're going to do a live show, let us know as well. If you're doing stuff with the community, send us the footage, film it. We will put it on BWTM Sports for you, or even on our news channel, BWTM. So that's what we're here to do.
Thank you so much. I look forward to it, man. And I certainly will send you some information to keep you updated. But like I said, again, I'll be touching base with you to give you that information off air as well. Okay.
That sounds great.
God bless you.
God bless.
Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the grandson of Henry Armstrong. And can you confirm one more time for us? Regards to Henry Armstrong and Round for Round Boxing. One more time, please confirm.
Yes, it's been confirmed that boxing legend Henry Armstrong will be a part of Round for Round Boxing, and we're so excited about this. And I already saw some of his his character, and believe me, it's amazing. These guys are awesome. I'm very excited and happy, and I know if he was here today, he would give approval on this as well. So you guys are awesome. I can't wait till we get the character up there, man, and is out there performing, because I know people are going to have fun with him. I mean, he was an exciting fighter. And, he also said, this was one of his last interviews. He said, I had a wonderful time in boxing. I'm a very fortunate guy. And this is what my grandfather said, man. So he loved boxing, guys. And like I said, again, his heart and spirit was in it. And so that's why the fights were so amazing, And so again, thank you guys. And thank you, Round for Round Boxing. Thank you so much for sponsoring our hackathon this coming up Saturday, guys. And like I said again, please visit our foundation. Please support the Henry Armstrong Foundation. We're an organization that gives back, and majority of our proceeds that we receive go towards our program. We have administration fees, but a lot of times I wind up covering that myself out of my own pocket. And it's really tough, but I believe in this, man. I believe in this. That's the reason why, I don't even worry about accepting any salary. I've been doing this for 13 years. It was never about getting a salary. It's about doing the work, helping others. And matter of fact, I had a guy, I'll tell you this real quick. I had a guy who was a sports writer at the time. And this was in 2004. And I told him about what I wanted to do about the foundation. Didn't have a clue or anything. And this guy told me, he says, don't do a foundation. He says, just have a breakfast event. That'll be too much work for you. It'll be too hard for you to do that. And he wanted me to have a breakfast with a well-to-do crowd. And, I felt like, the people that we need to serve is the people that down at the Midnight Mission, the same mission that took in my grandfather back in 1930s when he didn't have anything. And so those are the folks we're going to serve. So to make a long story short, he told me I couldn't do it. The very next year, 2005, the foundation was established. So again, this is what I'm showing you. And I have his letter to this day where he told me not to do it. And that's as you can see, since 2004, 2013, we've done quite a bit with little, So again, I'm grateful, man. I use that to inspire young kids too, to let them know, don't listen to what others say. Follow your heart, follow your dream. God put the dream, the gift inside of you, not in someone else. So you have to realize that you can do it, but you must first put God first and believe in yourself.
Again, Edward Scott, thank you so much for being on BWTM Sports and, more importantly, allowing Henry Armstrong to be a part of Round for Round Boxing. All the best for the foundation. As I said, we'll push that foundation and certainly this interview, and we'll do what we can at BWTM Sports. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's it from us from Round for Round Boxing. We'd like to thank you so much for tuning in. Again, Henry Armstrong now a part of Round for Round Boxing. That is absolutely awesome. A legendary fighter, a pound for pound great Hall of Famer, and one of the greatest fighters of all times, of all eras. Okay, that's it from us. I'm just going to close now with the round for round. Here we go. Thank you all so very much once again. Round for round boxing. www.roundforroundboxing.com. Check it out. Check out the website. We're out. Take care.